come in and clip this video. So hello and welcome to season 3 episode 20 of Fabrically Speaking Live. I'm your host Clare Rowley, and today we're gonna have some fun doing some free motion quilting at the request of who requested this. I feel like it was Wendy, but I may be wrong. So I designed this little pattern this morning, and it's a little owl pattern. And we'll do some piecing, and then I'm going to trace the owl and quilt that. And then afterward, at some point in time, I'm going to ink the owl in instead of inking first and quilting second. So it's something I've been wanting to try. And when I say inking, it's fabric paint that we have at creativefeet.com. Different types of inks available for you to color in your free motion quilting, which is, I believe, going to be super fun. Hello, Tina, Sheila, Madeline. Around to it, I think that's Lynn. Thank you guys for hanging out. Carlene, hello, Carlene. I'm having a strange day, so it doesn't surprise me that the microphone didn't work. All right, here we go. So, would have been more ready had my microphone not failed. Sorry about the delay. So today's giveaway, I'm going to be giving away at the end of the show. And I'm going to ask a random question based on what I'm teaching today at the end of the show. And then you will have a certain amount of time to type it in. And I guess I'm going to give you guys a little bit of notice, like 30 seconds maybe notice, so that you can get your keyboards, get ready to type. After having some of you say, I couldn't even get to my keyboard that quick. Hello, Shirley from Alberta, Canada. I will try to remember that. About to it is Shirley. Shirley, I'm about to it. Okay, so this is a really good book written by my friend Carol Ann Waugh. It's called Stupendous Stitching, and I was going to pull out a sample that I did based on it, but it's not going to happen. I'll put a picture inside of the school for you guys to look at in the comments below today's show. I figured I would use fabrics I already have cut, so I don't have to cut strips. We can speed up time, but I do need to square off and have a center square. So here's what's going on. I just gotta let you know. I've broken out in hives, I think, I don't know why. So I'm kind of reactive today, a little bit. Kind of panicked feeling because I don't know why I've evaluated all the things I ate. So all I can think of is maybe some little bug stung me when I went out to water in the garden today, and it's so small I'm not noticing it. But it's an interesting day. Do any of you have allergies to bugs or anything? Have you ever just broken out in hives and just went, I have no idea how that happened? I only have to iron this one square. For those of you who can't stand watching me iron something too long. You can use this pattern, will be available, by the way, in the VIP group. If you want to join the VIP group to receive free patterns, and the link is at the top of the chat. It's Create with Clare Rowley, my school, found at create.clarerowley.com. Turn that off. So if we have a 12-inch square, want the actual quilt to be 12 inches when complete. That was the request. And we have two 2.5-inch strips to put on the sides and 2 to put on the top. And we want to have, any of you got your calculator out? And we want to have the square, when done, overall to be 12 inches. Try not to get too far away. So the colors will not be exact what I did in the pattern, which is right here, but close. I was thinking the sky above the owl. Sorry about that microphone interference. All right, so we could do the dark purple on the sides, but I was going to do little squares of purple on the corners. And I think it looked good in the design. So let's just do that. I wish I felt a little bit calmer, but I didn't realize I was having this reaction until just a little bit before I went live. No, it's not stress. I'm totally chill. This is... I really have no idea. But we'll just drop the subject and maybe it'll go away. I'm on a celery juice cleanse. So maybe it's just something detoxing today. All right, come on, you guys. Let's talk about... Uh-oh. No. That's so bizarre. Why is this song coming on? So this is this one. Sorry, you guys. I forgot I had a song. Here we go. Oh, happy day. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the corner and then do another 1/4 inch on this. No, if I do that, what will happen is I'll have to try to piece in the square in the center. So what we want to do is we want to build the top and then build the bottom and then add a strip on either side of the center square. Much easier to construct that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Got to keep my eye on the pattern. It's the dark purple that I want to add. For flat construction, we want to have our seams pressed open if we want to do some free motion quilting and cross over the seams. I don't have to do that, but I may get tempted to do that. So I am going to go ahead and select and go ahead and use the pressed open seam allowance for this. To make sure that I have the correct seam allowance, I'm going to use the Satinedge presser foot. Move the microphone. So the Satinedge foot has this little wire connected to that white guide, and when you turn the nut, it changes the wire's position. The last thing I did apparently was free motion on the machine. Last week we didn't have a sewing machine on the set because I was doing fabric painting. I'm having a hard day. We're not going to say that anymore. Everything's going to be great now. It was a momentary blip. Okay, so I've tightened down my machine snap-on adapter and I'm attaching the Satinedge foot to the sewing machine snap-on adapter. Let's see if I can tip the machine a little bit. This is a gigantic machine, still getting used to having it on the table. Take and bring a measuring tape up. Place it beneath the foot and select a left needle position. lower the needle so that it just hovers right above. Can't get my hand to the hand wheel, you guys. Too many cords. Sewing machine is so big. So I'm bringing the needle down, and it's definitely not going to work this position. I'm going to have to move the machine a little more. It's not centered. Bring the needle down so that it hovers over one of the lines on the measuring tape. And then we turn the nut on the foot, moving the guide to the 1/4 inch mark. Once that's in position, then you know your seam allowance will be consistent. It's the needle over one of the marks on the measuring tape, and then the guide is adjusted over to the 1/4 inch line. And then the guide won't change position because it's really tight on the foot. That nut doesn't spin easily, which some of you may have thought, wow, this foot's really hard to turn the nut. And now you know why. It's so that the feed dogs, when it hits the bottom of the foot, that it doesn't cause the foot guide to move over. Another thing to make sewing your seams easier is to use our liquid-based glue, which is really just water-soluble stabilizer in a bottle. So it's a water-soluble stabilizer that has water in it, and while it's in the bottle, it's wet. I must have left the lid off last time. Too long. Just clear that little clog. It kind of clogs itself up that way, which is actually kind of nice because you don't have to worry about it drying up inside of the bottle. This will never harden, and you end up with little drops that you can position to give yourself a perfect seam allowance without having to use straight pins. Slide that. So we're going to be losing a 1/4 inch of the 2.5 inch strips with each seam that we sew for the center. Oh. Somebody put something else in the chat besides I'm having a bad day. I need some good chatter in there. I'm switching to a different color thread. I'm going to go ahead and use a thread that blends nicely with all of these colors. This is the Polyfast 40 weight thread, but you can go ahead, especially on a wall quilt, you don't have to use a heavy thread. You could use the Invisifil thread, which is 100 weight. And ultimately that was the plan, to use that in the needle and the bobbin, or for the free motion part. Let me pick one. This is one of the most blendable colors for your mid-tone. So if you tend to do a lot of mid-tones, you'll probably really like to have this number thread in your arsenal, and it is the Invisifil 723. And this thread is only 100 weight, so it barely shows up on the fabric. Still trying to center this sewing machine for you, or at least give you a better view. So right now I don't have any thread in my bobbin. This is the Deco Bob, which is 80 weight. I don't like how dark that is, so I'm going to switch it out for one of the lighter colors in the collection. If you're waiting on the master packs, know that they ship them out, so they're on their way to us. They were out of stock for a while. If you haven't received an update on an order and I didn't fill it completely, you should check your orders. Really, depending on what I'm going to do for the bottom of the quilt, the backside, I'm going to go ahead and use a nice purple. So I'll probably back this with a purple. It's going to be a great day. It already is. When you wake up in the morning, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day. I had a beautiful Mother's Day weekend. I did a lot of yard, not yard work so much as I have flagstones, so I got some rocks and to fill in the gaps between. Did my own lawn mowing so that I had a beautiful Mother's Day yard, and I love doing yard work. Do any of you enjoy getting your hands dirty in the garden? I bought myself a sunflower plant. I've never owned one. Are you guys surprised I got a sunflower plant? This needle threader needs adjustment. It's almost doing it, and then it doesn't quite. Ah, it's just going to keep doing that, I guess. All right, I'll have to... Well, my other sewing machine is needing a trip to the doctor. And I am wanting to do some embroidery to show you how to use our stabilizers with the embroidery machine as well as doing the free motion. So if I don't have another machine to use, then that machine will never get serviced, and it really needs to. All right, finally. It's going to be a smooth, easy day. Here we go. So the fabric is glued. It pretty much stays in place. Now, some of you might like to do string piecing where you connect pieces together. I've always been more fond of securing the beginning and the ends of my seams so that they can never come undone. So I usually start on the fabric, sew a couple stitches. The machine's not running. Wrong cord. I should never take the sewing machine off the table again. All right, here we go. A couple stitches forward, and then you go back. Then you don't have to worry about the fabric bunching up as you approach it. Sew down. Know that I have not done this design before. Just designed it this morning. Use the scissors. Nice thing about having one of my wooden pressers is that you don't have to go to the iron now to press that open. Excuse me. And I'm going to actually cut this. Taking a deep cleansing breath to calm my nerves. Funny, because I wasn't nervous at all when I woke up. Just was hoping that the hives won't continue. Is Mercury back in retrograde? Oh man, I should just cancel the show on days like that. Okay, so this is the top, and all four corners are going to have the dark purple. So now I need to measure this across. I'm having a little bit of like breath issues. Man, I hope I don't have to stop the show. What got a hold of me? Ultimately, we want it to be 12 inches in diameter. I mean in length, or in width and length. So it actually should come out to the 1/2 inch mark when we're finished. So 1/4 inch. So this is where I want to cut it for the next seam. I need to clear my surface. All right, this is a good time for me to ask the question, what is on your sewing table? And then tell me about your Mother's Day. What did you guys do? Did you do something special? And it was just last weekend, right? I'm a bit distracted. I currently have more than one job, doing editing of my novel with Carlene. And in between working with Carlene, I then do some more writing. So my mind is in my story a lot. Have any of you picked up the art of writing at all? Any of you writers? Should I buy a book of yours? I don't get to know you guys that much. Back to this. Okay. Mercury in retrograde. Need to get the calendar marked so that I never do a show. I'm just kidding. Snail trail free motion in process. Ah. Does that mean you are doing a snail trail? This fabric frays terribly. Okay, so I'm looking at the mat and I want to keep it so that it's on the line straight. Come over. And we want from there we're going to lose if overall we want this to end up being 12 1/4, right? No, 12 1/2 overall. So the purple fabric would cross right here. But we would sew here. So I need to cut the fabric on the I'll probably mark the pattern for you guys so you don't have to think. So I need to cut the teal at the 10-inch mark. It's going to be so little. I should actually use the same piece I cut from the last time. That would be smart. So I'm going to skip the gluing, just see how fast we can construct this. Quarter-inch seam allowance. Oh, that camera's glitching. Noah. It's a glitchy day. Oh my goodness. I'm going to restart that camera really quick, you guys. Goodness gracious. All right, angels. I need your protection today. Keep things from going wonky. It's still glitching, you guys. No. I'm going to try unplugging it from the computer really quick. Goodness. This is the close one. My hands are not coming into the screen, so it's not even working right now. Hang on. Everything was fine. Deep breath. My hands aren't coming into the screen. Let's try this again. Okay, I think it may work. Let's see. All right. Okay, here we go, you guys. This is ridiculous. I want to have a successful day, please. Easy day. Sheila, what kind of applique design are you doing? Sure hope I did the math right. None of you are going, no, you did it wrong. So if you wanted to have this pre-cut, you would pre-cut it, this one to 10.5 inches. Pressing open. So I'm pressing to one side, then I press to the other, then flip it over and press to the opposite side. Then I'm able to press the seam open real easy. And I don't have to worry about the seam coming out on either side because I did the forward and reverse or lock stitch at the beginning. A deer. You guys should share the pictures of your projects today. Oh, that's right. I have to create like a place for you guys in the school where you can just post all the projects you're working on. Because you guys are shy. So now we'll see if I did this right. It's exactly 12 inches. So I did this wrong. This should have been a little bit bigger because I should have a 1/4 inch seam all the way around for the binding. Wow, you guys, feeling funky. Okay, a couple more corner pieces. I think that's my short one. Makes me feel like singing doe a deer, a female deer. You guys are quiet. For future reference, would you rather I had already had this all pieced and then just dug right into the free motion part? Hi, Terry from North Carolina. Welcome to today's show. The last time I had hives was when I got stung by a bee right as I was coming back from one of my shows. I agree, Sheila. So, especially if you're big, if you've done a lot of piecing already, this can be a little boring. I just had the ruler slide. Did you guys catch that? Looks like I may have gotten lucky. I'm not myself today. Sorry. This is someone else. It's not Claire here. Press to one side. Now we're gonna, can't get the flatness that I would like because I didn't press to the opposite side as well. So press to one side and then press to the opposite side, and then it just falls open nice and clean for a flat seam. This is the red velvet presser color. I think I did it wrong. I did. Look at that. I failed. Jeez. I'm just not feeling good. So I think what I'm going to do is just do the owl right now and try not to worry you guys on how I'm feeling. We'll do the applique part, or the quilting part. That's really easy stuff. As long as you get that you need to build the top, build the bottom, then build the middle, then you sew them into 3 sections. And we just want to make sure we have enough room around to build that. I'm going to go ahead and use my new favorite for tracing are these friction markers. So instead of the ballpoint pen tip, they have the felt tip or a marker tip on them. So I'm going to free motion quilt over this, and then afterward I'll just iron this away, and all I'll be left with is thread, and then it'll be inking the inside. So instead of having fabric pieces for each, but you could use the same technique that I did for my sunflower placemat design, and how I used a coloring book type of pattern and use that to make the pattern for the applique, and use this same design in that method. It was fun drawing this little guy this morning. Yeah, sun allergy? Huh. I did get some sun this weekend. But what's odd is I didn't have the hives until today, and today's Thursday. So I haven't really been out in the sun since Sunday. Almost wondering if there wasn't a chemical on my celery. I washed my celery, and it was organic, but you never know. Tried to keep the design simple, so it wouldn't take me that long to trace, and I feel good about that. Because that wasn't too long, and now we can get to the quilting part. Now the challenge about this design is that it's going to be a small little quilt. And I really should piece it first. So this is kind of like a quilt as you go process. If I quilt the middle, I'm trying to think, can I apply this to my quilt as you go design? See, I'm not really a nervous type of person, so I don't feel like it's nerves. And I'm getting red right now, so I don't know what's going on. The only thing I can think is the celery. Didn't take new vitamins. Nothing else was new other than a brand new package of celery. And the kind I got was kind in the package. I usually buy a bunch. So maybe whatever they use to wash it, I'm reacting to. I don't know. Let's change the subject. This will be interesting because, you know, maybe there'll be a time when you kind of have an issue like this where you quilt something and now you want to add some pieces to the outside, and I can make that another project to do in a Zoom chat in the school for everybody. In the Zoom chats is where I finish all my unfinished projects with you. I'm going to get some batting, and the secret to doing a small quilt is don't cut the batting and the backing small, and you don't even have to do the backing right now. I can quilt this without backing at all. But I feel like I'm going to want to have the owl shape on the back, so I'm going to go ahead and choose a back fabric and build the outside later. This machine is the Baby Lock Destiny that's been hiding in the closet for a few years. And I have just stickers on it right now, so I'll be painting this one so that, you know, you guys will enjoy seeing it and it won't be so white like you're seeing right now. That'll be a good backing. It's a dark purple like the squares. So a lot of you, I shouldn't say that, say if you do free motion and you feel like your stitches are just messy, you may be going dark thread on light fabric. You'll prefer the look of your stitches if you go dark fabric, light thread. Yeah, this machine, Paula, is huge. Takes up a lot of space. I got a sticker on there. Batting. Time to get itchy from the batting. And I should iron this. But I'm just going to first cut some, square it off a little bit. So you want it bigger than the piece. It'd be good to have it like 16 inches. It's going to be easier for you to use the Octi Hoops. That's the reason. By the way, we just got these, my favorite shears in, so we'll be adding them to the site very soon. They're really comfortable for small hands. And out of all of their scissors, this is the one I loved. And that's the Kai brand. Do not iron the owl after you've drawn it or you'll erase it. That would really frustrate me today. So I've been trying to get you guys to tell me what you want me to paint on this machine. Should I do an all-over scene like I did before with the ocean machine with the palm trees and or the jungle machine? Or should I do more of a motif designed kind of like the sticker on the machine. Oh, come on, this little tiny piece of sticker. There we go. Are you guys praying for me that things will get better? I kind of feel like it. That sensation of getting red is fading. Yay. I think I'm going to be all right here. Morning glories. Hummingbirds. So maybe a garden scene with the characters larger than life so you guys can see them. I have done some hummingbirds already. My dad's 93rd birthday is coming up, and my Aunt Joan will be visiting, and she is a hummingbird lover, and I painted her a care rock when she broke her hip. On one side of the rock there was an angel, and on the other side was a hummingbird. I just saw this new feeder because I have trouble with hummingbird feeders. If any of you have a really good one, can you share it in the school with me? Because mine keep leaking. I have plenty of hummingbirds though without a feeder, but it'd be nice to have them show up in front of my window. Hummingbirds. All right, so that ends up being good, but we got to have the outer perimeter of it, so I'm going to bring it over to this side and make sure that it is within so that I can build the borders. Making sure that the purple is also back there. Put my hand down and then flip it up so it looks like I'm good to go. I can make this bigger than 12 inch if I want. Okay. Yay. I'm already happier because I'm going to be doing free motion. Trailing lilacs. Now, if you like to baste your quilts, the way I prefer to do it is to use the liquid baste and to place, you position your fabric how you want it to be and then kind of pull back halfway across. And then rather than putting it on the fabric, put it on the batting instead and think of each dot as a basting stitch or as a safety pin that you don't have to use. So safety pin, safety pin, safety pin, safety pin, no more safety pins, no more risk of breaking needles, no more damaging the fabric. Just kind of then slide your finger over the dots to kind of smear them, but not push them into the batting. And then you just bring your fabric back, kind of like you do with shelf liner. And now that is held in place, and any water that's inside of the water-soluble stabilizer in a bottle kind of goes on your finger and also spreads out nicely into the batting, so you don't have to worry about it getting your fabric wet. So once again, you just pull it over to the halfway mark, and it's actually tugging on the little dots that are back there. And once again, dots where you would normally have safety pins, you can go every 4 inches apart, every 6 inches apart, and then little dots, just smear them out. And then put your fabric down. And now the batting and the fabric will stay together. However, this is bamboo batting, and bamboo batting has a real high level of static cling to begin with. So you really, on small projects, don't need to baste. See how the I'm grabbing just the purple fabric. And see how the batting is stuck to it? So they pretty much, you don't really need to. So I'm not even gonna put any on the back and prove it to you. Switch now to the Octi Hoops. And the Octi Hoops come 3 to a set. You also receive 2 of these handles. And the handles are designed to fit into these holes so that you can draw with your hoop. And that's how we do machine embroidery as well. But with the machine embroidery, we actually apply stabilizers to the backside, and then after you're done, you tear the embroidery away and you end up with a hole. And that is the hole from this, which was the last video that I did. It was 2 weeks ago. So season 18, season 3, episode 18 is this. And inside of the school the following Tuesday, we completed it in a Zoom. I have yet, I don't know if I posted the link yet for the video in the Zoom chat. So if you want to see this finished, be sure you're a member of the school. That was one of the free classes inside of the school. Create with Clare Rowley. Hummingbirds sleep upside down? I want to just hang out in the chat. When we do free motion quilting, we don't want to have any stabilizer on the back of the quilt, because then we would have, like you have with embroidery, you'd have stabilizer on the back. So when we quilt with the Octi Hoops, we're going to take and place one of the larger frames beneath, and then the top frame goes on top, and you can feel the frame beneath it and is a little bit larger. To determine, because there are 3 sizes of hoops, to determine which one is best for the top is based on the size of your hand. So if your hand fits within that frame, then this would be a good one to go on top. If your fingers are larger and your fingers extend out to the inside perimeter of that, you can use these 2 frames. You can also place this one on the back using the smaller one, as I do have people tell me that they do that. My mind doesn't work that well, and they kind of just move this smaller frame around. Keep in mind that the size of this opening does not determine the size of your design. Placing this beneath, this goes on top, the handle drops in, using your dominant hand for the handle, and your non-dominant hand holds the frames together. So elbows are going to be resting on the table. I use this beneath my elbow to keep my elbow from getting sore from leaning against a hard surface. So you'll be, because normal free motion is not done with your elbows down. Normal free motion is done with both hands down on the fabric, and then elbows are raised and you move your entire body. But with the Octi Hoops, we're going to steer with our fingers instead of our entire arm. So your arm will rest on the body of the machine and the other elbow rests on this pad. If you have your machine lowered into a table, you may not feel that you need this as much, but it does help to elevate that left arm. If you are left-handed, it is good to have a table extending out from the left-hand side so that you can put your hand down on the machine to the side of the sewing machine needle, where actually this machine, if you have a Baby Lock Destiny or the Big Brother machine, you can easily use the left hand without having to get an extension table. Something I didn't know because I hadn't tried this machine for free motion before. So you can use spray starch if you want to stabilize your fabrics, but you do not need, nor do you want, any stabilizer for free motion quilting. The only stabilizer that you might want to use for free motion quilting would be a topper which will be available again, our stick and rinse stabilizer. You can print a design. It's a sticker. It's a clear sticker. It lays down on your fabric, so you don't have to draw the design. And we will be getting that back in stock. Unfortunately, it's not in stock right now. Then we're going to go ahead and remove the sewing machine snap-on adapter. It's another use for the applique scissors. I got this thread. I thought it was my hair, but it's actually just that thin thread. And it is a green thread on top. But I think I'd like to have my thread show up more, because I know you guys are going to say, I can't see it. So I'm going to switch to a darker color. I'll go ahead and use a purple-ish. This is the 40 weight polyfast thread. Sitting here on my table. Sticker's gone, and I wrote the number down. So this is polyfast 9374. Should you like this color? There's another color that I like. I think I like... You guys can help me decide. Which color do you think is better? Left or right? Left or right color thread? Nobody's answering. Come on, you guys. Left or right? I'm going to use the right because you're taking too long. I did see a hummingbird, a video of a hummingbird in sleeping inside of this flower. It was so cute. And there are a lot of bees. Pictures of bees. I just recently saw, I think it was today, I saw a picture of a bee asleep in a sunflower. And it was like face down, just asleep with its legs hanging out. Come on, threader work. Right on. Right on. So now it's easier to put the hoop beneath the quilt after you put the quilt up on the sewing machine, rather than trying to feel like the hoops need to be connected. Because remember, there's really nothing connecting these together. I was thinking about coming up with a project for this for frying pans. So you got one for each size frying pan. This is something that I did for the Easter basket. I got new frying pans and I don't want them to get scratched. So we all agreed on right. I did select the color you all chose. I'm going to take this now and place it beneath, and it lifts the quilt up above the bed of the sewing machine. Then the smaller hoop goes on top, and just choose wherever it is you want to start. Now on this pattern, I don't have the feathers. I was going to apply feathers onto this design. It just didn't get a chance. So I may wing it. And I'm doing the exact opposite of what I told you to do. Use a lighter color thread than the fabric you're using, and you'll like it more. So I'm doing the opposite so you can see it better. And hopefully I'll still like it. Try to get good lighting here for you. Okay. Get myself comfy. Got my elbow pad to rest. Microphone's too close for me. I'm going to see how far I can push the machine back so that I can lean forward, so that I can rest like I'm sitting down having a conversation with a friend. It's like we're at the show together. For any of you who've been to shows with me before, everyone's around my table and we just kind of hang out. So elbows down, shoulders relaxed. and you're going to feel it just slides on the body of the sewing machine. So that's the posture that I'm going to have as I show you. My left hand grabs the corner and brings the two frames together, and that's its job. The left hand doesn't need a lot of strength. You don't, it's however much pressure it takes to hold a piece of fabric is the same amount of squeezing that you have to do to hold these together. You have the V shape here and the V shape there, and you can put your index finger inside of the V and your ring finger and your thumb out here. And now that the quilt is stuck, even though nothing is stuck together at all. We have our bottom frame, our top frame, and then the quilt. Nothing is connected, but we become connected by bringing the two frames together. Rest your elbow on your machine, not on the quilt. And then your fingers rest on the hoop beneath. So you actually have more accuracy, just like when you write with a pen and you put your hand down when you write. So it's the same posture, same body movements that we do when writing. And if you say out loud, I'm tracing, that is in essence what I'm going to be doing here, tracing over the lines on the fabric. Trying to give you good light and have it so I can still sew this gigantic sewing machine. Something just slid off the table. I have no idea what it is. So I'm going to start just going to start here. Why not? Lower the foot. Even though there is no foot attached, you can, if you so desire, use a presser foot. It is entirely up to you. One of the nice things about the Octi Hoops is this smaller frame that sits on top, in essence, does what the foot does. It holds the fabric down for you. And that is why I don't have a foot on. I do need my glasses. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. If you don't want any knots showing, you would have these threads be a little bit longer. You can do a stitch and then bring these into a hand sewing needle and pull them in between your fabrics. Or you can go up and down and know that we're going to ink this afterward. Following the lines, I'm tracing. Before you begin, you can say, I would like all my stitches to be the same. And you're saying that out loud, telling the automatic behavior of your brain. Apologize for my fingernails. Here we go. Around. And the idea is to try not to stop and start very often. Where'd my little scissors go? Are they in the cubby? I just can't see it. Yeah, I have too much in my cubby. All right, so I'm deciding now, do I go around here? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish the body. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. My eye is not on the needle. My eye is where I am headed. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the toes. Very calming. Needle to use 9014 because I'm using the Polyfast 40 weight thread. You could use all the way down to a 7012 needle if you're going to go ahead and use the Invisifil thread, which is 100 weight. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Some areas I am going to be crossing over where I've already been. And that is okay because we are quilting. We're not doing stippling. This will be a good time to go around the outside of the head. So I slide the hoop, slide the bottom hoop up. So this bottom frame, it's hard to see, I got it too close. So there's the bottom frame. And you just slide it over and then move the top frame over, and that's how you can progress across the perimeter of the quilt, no matter how large it is. Elbows down, shoulders relaxed. Try to keep your eye where you're going, not where you're at. Or you could have things like that where you have a little gap. And I'll go around here and do his little ear. This kind of reminds me of the great horned owl that I had in my tree. Periodically comes to hang out. I had him stay for a couple weeks. It's funny because my neighbor goes, "Did you know you had an owl in your tree for 2 weeks?" Have any of you had a nice experience with an owl? Tell me about it. So now I could tie a knot and move across, but I could also try to think of this as an owl and go, okay, it has feathers. So we can kind of make little feather movements. Trying to make them the same size. And that gets me to being able to move across. And come up and up. And now I'm at an eyeball, so I can go around the eyeball. Notice I'm not running the machine fast. Slow pace. Whatever feels comfortable to you. There's nobody telling you you have to go fast. It is a common belief among new quilters that you need to move the fabric fast and the machine fast. But that is not good for your eyesight. You really need to make sure that you use a length or a speed that is good for your ability to see what you're doing. So notice that maybe I should pull this machine. They help with rodent control. Yes, they do. Come up so that I have feathers going all the way up, and eventually the feather will come across again. Kind of fun. Imagine what I can do with the paints as I color this in after it's quilted. So in essence, we're tracing a design to fabric paint for use as a quilt, but we're tracing with thread instead of with ink. And the ink used on this is a iron away pen, a friction marker that they came out with. I'm going to go back all the way around so that you can't tell where I stop and where I start. And now I can hop over. My speed of my machine, I didn't set my speed control. I generally will do that. Set the speed control so that I can't go too fast and startle myself. Take the speed down about 30% of full speed. These are carryover stitches that I will cut. Remember, if you don't want any knots showing, you would just leave them long and pull them through to the between the batting and the fabric to make it so that the stitches don't show where it starts and stops. Now, I don't want to waste the thread or risk breaking the needle, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the thread and move it down. And think about how the owl's wings will be. And those of you in the VIP group, I will be drawing the lines on one of the patterns for the feathers as well. Heads, not heads. I don't know what that means. And had I had the lines for the feathers on there before, I probably wouldn't have had to stop and start as much. Free motion quilting is one of my favorite things to do, and something I never thought I would ever enjoy, because I used to physically hurt whenever I did it, because we used to have to push down against the quilt, against the surface of the machine. And know that I have not lowered my feed dogs. That doesn't mean you can't lower your feed dogs. I just tend to forget, because you really don't need to with the Octi Hoops. So I think I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to leave the back of the body not fluffy feathers, and kind of keep it separate by not having the feathers on the back. And happy Thursday, everybody. It's almost Friday. What you guys got planned for the weekend? Are any of you going to be sewing on your weekend, or quilting, or embroidering? I know that this channel is not just quilting. So what determines the size of the needle? I get that asked a lot. I'm nervous to start quilting because I don't know what size needle to use, and I'm going past where I'm going to be cutting because I didn't mark it. And this will be cut off once I add the other pieces of fabric. So what determines the size of the needle is the size of the thread, mostly, and the fabric. So if your fabric is really thin, a small needle won't have any trouble going through it. If your... I got distracted. If your thread is thick and you use a small needle, it can't go through the eye of the needle, or is it that it can't go down the face of the needle? The face of the needle has a groove going down it, and the thread is supposed to hide inside of that as it goes down into the machine, where the hook comes around and picks up the stitch. So if you have shredding of your thread, generally it's caused by the needle going down into the machine, and the hook comes around and it snags the thread instead of grabbing the thread. This is not dry skin. This is the liquid-based glue on my fingers. So I'm using my Gold Bond lotion with aloe. And I'm saying that because I get asked what kind of lotion I use. So I think I'm going to go all the way to the top of the wing so that I can get an idea, compare it to the other wing. So as the needle goes down, the thread goes down and out of the eye. A lot of thread goes down. The whole length of the needle going all the way down pulls the thread all the way out of the eye. Then it comes back through the eye. If the thread is too large for the eye of the needle, then the thread doesn't hide in that groove going down the front of the needle, and it causes the hook to damage the thread. And then when the thread comes back up, the damaged area goes up here. The next time the sewing machine tries to sew, the damaged area comes down here, and then it shreds it up like an accordion. And that's what causes your shredding of your thread. One of the causes of that, actually. There's several causes of shredding thread. Another cause would be the thread is not a good quality thread, and it has a lot of highs and lows or knots in it. Tying a knot, cutting, I'll just hop over now to do his tail. And I really think that it's got a long center feather. Maybe some little ones in between. I'm quiet when I'm designing as I'm sewing. Whoopsie, there we go. First whoopsie of the day. Oh, were you able even to see that? Is my hand in the way? Still got to work on another camera angle. I think I'm done. What do you think, you guys? What time is it? 3:20? 3:30. 2, that's an hour and a half. Thank goodness I'm feeling better. I think whatever reaction I was having has calmed down, so I'm no longer feeling a little nervous I was before. Yeah, this is actually just the tail end of 33 years of having fake fingernails on my nails. So some of my other nails, the thumbnails, I used to pop those nails off a lot, so they were looking pretty bad. But I will look and see about that nail conditioner. Anything I can do to make my nails better. I'm a little embarrassed by them, but at this point I'm just can't do it anymore. Time to stop. I'm pleased with how he's coming out. Now I could do a little coloring in with you guys, or I could take the time to piece it together. You guys choose. Should I do a little inking, or should I try piecing? Cutting off the carryovers. As I stated before, those of you in the VIP group will find this pattern in the VIP group. I was trying to get it done today. I probably will give you what I've already done today and then add to it and update the pattern. Inking. More inking. Want to see the back? Want me to prove there's no puckers? See? Absolutely no puckers. You can't create them. And that was even though the feed dogs were up the entire time that I quilted that. So your back sides are always going to look real nice too. Isn't that nice? All right, I'm going to do a little inking. That'll be a good way for me to end the day. I left my stuff in here just so I could do this. So the inks are water-based ink. It's a good opportunity to pull out your pattern so you have an idea of the colors that I thought would work out nicely. Owls tend to have yellow eyes, which I think is really cool, don't you? So I have my pattern close by as I ink. We don't want to get this really wet because we have our back fabric on there. Can't protect it from water leaking through. I have several inking lessons on my YouTube channel. if you're interested in learning how more about it. And you can see the fabrics hanging on the wall. Those were projects that I inked with the same inks that you're going to see me use on this cute little owl. This is a great little starter project for both piecing, quilting, and inking, and it'll be a little wall hanging, and I think I will give it a spot on the wall in my sewing room so you guys can enjoy it. What about your skin? I'll have to catch up on the chat after I'm done. Here we go. It's a good idea to work farther away from you and work your way towards yourself if you tend to put your hands down a lot. It is very common to put your hands down when you draw. Have you guys been paying attention? Who's going to win the stupendous stitching book? Guess. Let's see which one of you guesses the right person. Are you going to say me? Me, 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 me. This is one ink. I love this one. I just have to use it, but I didn't design my owl with that color. We got a brown. This is the ganache color in the plaid. Fabric creations found at creativefeet.com. So we have another purple. This is a metallic-y. This is the Lumineer Pearlescent Violet number 569. And as you can see, I did a variety of different purples. So got a lavender color. Each of these, believe it or not, this is a little bit different shade than that. Try to make it drop further back and pull more forward. But you don't have to be real. You can just have fun with it and not worry too much about it. Could even change to a pink instead of doing a lavender. It's entirely up to you. There's another color. The real yellow. This is real yellow from the Fabric Creations. Is that it? God, their writing is so small. It's not my eyes that are bad. Good for the beak. Could do the beak orange though. Doesn't have to be the same. And you can mix a little orange with a little yellow to get a little bit different shade. So I'm just kind of picking colors right now. And is Ellen in here today? I didn't notice. She still hasn't collected on her prize. We also have paintbrushes at creativefeet.com for this purpose. And they also are wonderful for watercolor and acrylic paints as well as oil. Try not to get everything dirty. Okay, so this is kind of the reverse of what I've done in the past. I usually would ink first, quilt second. Sometimes you have a little bit of trouble quilting through things when you ink it first, especially if you use white. When you use white, it makes it a little bit sticky. If you're going to be placing, well, if you're going to be hanging it on a wall, it really doesn't matter how stiff your quilt ends up being. So this makes fiber art You can do a lot with fiber art using these. You could just randomly stitch and not even have a pattern, and then just take your inks and add to it, accentuating the prints and fabrics. And you can also use this on quilts that will be washed, because it does become permanent. I think I'm going to go with pink for his ears and his belly. Maybe add a little lavender to it. See how well it mixes. Try not to get this all over. Okay. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Madeline. Oh, my foot. I need a spot for my foot to go. My human foot. So I can rest. All right, here we go. Happy day. It's always a happy day when I'm painting something. Okay, so I think you can all see everything now. Get this out of the way. I've tamed the drawer that opens. It's a good idea to have the colors that you've chosen and all the other colors set aside. And I have containers that I use to put them in, so that I don't get it all over where I don't want it to be. Those almost look like the exact same color. Would also not be a bad idea to iron or stick. It'd be better to iron. Iron or hold light everywhere where you don't want it to be. Then I wouldn't have to worry about it getting it dirty. And then after you're done inking, you could take the hold light away. Make sure you shake so that the ink, this is actually called ink. And it's a little thinner, considerably thinner actually, than the fabric paints that we sell from the Jacquard line. Brenda's here, also known as Brandy. I was looking for this and it was right in front of me. I'll just put it in with another area where I already had purple. So for those of you who just came in, I did this quilting. And now I'm going to color in the quilting. This is for 546 grape and then Lemure. I saw this thing and it said, the older I get, the tighter they're screwing all the lids on everything. Do you guys feel that way too? So you don't need a lot of color. Use it sparingly. You guys are being slow on your chatting because it's taken a long time to reach 100. You guys need to say more. Should I stick with the colors that you see here, or should I vary them? Okay, so these are 3 different shades, which kind of makes it nice and for you to see as well, pure color sometimes. Come on, I'm wearing the wrong clothes. The shirt I am wearing, I actually inked. One of my favorite tops. Because I designed it so that it slims me when I wear it. So please let me not get ink anywhere I don't want it to be. So what I had said before was if you use Hold Light, which is the same stabilizer we put on the back of appliques, the same stabilizer used sometimes as a substitute for the stick and rinse to print on and embroider through, like I did on the butterfly t-shirt. Hold Light is also used to back embroidery designs and towels to keep the loops from pulling out when you pull your towel off of our stick and tear stabilizer. Hold Light could be used on this, and I could cut a little window right where the owl is, and it would cover all of the other surface, which would be very wise, but would require me turning the iron on. So keep that in mind. Okay, I want to have a pink-ish color. I just love this color. I think I'm going to mix this with the purple and see how... Oops, I got the wrong camera. Sorry, guys. I'm going to use this color with purple and see if I can't get that lavender-ish look, because I don't have a lavender. Generally, I use a palette knife to pull colors out of the tube. I can see it in the room, but it's too far. So I'm just going to grab another brush for now. I'm not working in the art room. I'm working in the sewing area, so... Oh, that's a lot more pink than I need. I'm going to put it back. This is a very small item. Close those lids back up. And I did what I tell you not to do. Got the paint up inside the metal part, which one of you knows the name of that. I always want to call it the wrong thing because of the cello that I play. Okay, so I dip the brush in the water and then I wipe and slide, spinning it to drop that paint out of there without getting it in the water, and that way the water stays clean. What you're seeing is ink on the bottom of those. It's actually clean water. Sometimes it seems tedious to do these things, but you don't want to have to buy more brushes just because you were... See, I got a little... It's fine. It's just crumbs. It's not really wet. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just go into the Zen place here and just pretend I'm all alone. Make sure you only got one dirty brush at a time. Well, there's my other palette knife. This is the palette knife I usually use to mix colors. It's a skinny little, comes to a point. Okay, so I wanted to try mixing, so I'm going to drop that there. Take a little pink. Actually, it would be the opposite. It would be a little lavender mixed in with my pink, or a little purple mixed in with my pink to create another shade of purple. And you could add white, which I should have out here. I think we got a nice color there. And the goal is to keep it inside the lines of the stitching, so it'll appear as though you quilted after, or it'll appear as if this is applique, but it's not. You can be artistic with this and do shading if you like, but if you want it to look like an applique, then that is the goal. But you're welcome to go outside of the norm and create a fiber art project. Dampen the brush a little bit, drop some of that water off, pick up some more paint. Don't want it to be real wet because we got the back fabric on there. Keep this on the surface of the fabric is the goal. And this is one of the rounds that comes in the paintbrush set that we offer at creativefeet.com. Isn't that fun? Didn't Sheila just get here? Notice I use the same movement. I pull away from the point so that you keep a nice point on your round brushes. It's 350. Thank you guys that were here at the beginning for being patient as we had a misbehaving microphone. You can't wait to see me finish this? Oh, you're going to go back and see how I stitched that. All right, so the next place I use that is on the belly. But I have feathers here now. So I could alternate my feathers, different colors, because that would be fun, wouldn't it? If you've done fabric painting before, tell me about it. What did you paint? How long ago was it? A little bit of water, drop off the excess, grab some more. This is the metallic or the Lemure Pearlescent Violet, by the way, number 560. So pretty. I love how it reflects. But I mixed it with the pink. This one. I mixed it with the 573 Pearlescent Magenta. So these two together created this color. So if you were trying to look for that color in the line, this particular one, you would not find it. It's really nice to be able to mix colors. I'm actually thinking now I should have mixed more of this. Grab a little bit more of that water. It's a beautiful day here in Arizona. Windy again. What's the weather like in your area? Where are you? And what is the outside like today? Puffy paints. Oh, I remember puffy paints. So I'm going to be strict with myself and not take it out here. I'm going to use it in here, but I'm going to use two different shades of it. We can get puffy paints still. In fact, I have some that we may add. Should I find something that I really want to use it for? Picking up that water that I dropped off. We do have a smaller round, and I should use the smaller round to go up into these deeper points here. What do you do to relax? Is it sewing, quilting, embroidery, painting, writing, walking? This would be painting is one of the most relaxing things that I do. I say you used to use it like to make it appear like an applique. Puffy paint look like a satin stitch. Back in the day, before the Satinedge foot, we used to do things like that. Now we can actually satin stitch right on the edge. If you're new to the channel, the foot I used to piece at the beginning is the same foot used to do a satin stitch on the edge. It looks like these feathers are sticking out, even though I know logically, intellectually that this fabric is the same level as that. And that's that metallic, pearlescent reflection of the light that's making it appear bigger. It's so cool looking. But of course it is puffy because of the stitching stitched around it. So let's pick up a little bit more purple. So now we have a different shade with the same combination of colors. I should say the right color name. Pearlescent violet, not violent. I'll get some really good shots of this and put it in the school for you guys to look at so that you can see how, yeah, it actually accentuates the puff, the trapunto appearance of the quilting, of the fabric being raised above the stitching. It's a lot easier to come in tight with a color with a paintbrush than it is to stitch around a design accurately that already has a design on it. So this is partly why I wanted to show you guys this as an option instead of painting something first and then stitching. Stitch first, then you look like you were more... Well, there was a stutter. It looks as though you're more skilled in your stitching, but actually it's just that you're doing the brushing, the ink after. It's a little bit of a cheat. I'm so glad I feel better. I'm going to take a little bit more, I think, for another level of shading, coloring. I got too much paint on my brush. Need to dip in for some more water. And I could actually go in and do more shading around the stitching as well with a darker color. Try to get a color the same as the thread, but I like the thread contrasting with the colors that I'm inking or painting with. I'll tell you what, this is relaxing. A bow on her head? I don't know about that. I'm going to take a little bit of the dark. I think this is grape. And it doesn't have pearlescent to kind of drop that section back. And it's going to make the yellow or orange toes pop even more. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? So I need another contrasting color to go around the center. I'll just take this, and it's not going to be pearlescent, so it will look different. Add some water to it. Welcome to all of those of you who are lurking in the background. And if you're watching this and it is not May 12th of 2022, you're watching on the replay. If you want to get some of this ink, it is available at creativefeet.com. The link is in the description below the video. If it isn't yet, it will be when I'm done. I may have forgotten to put that in today's video link. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So see, because it is not shiny, it's now further away as well. It is darker as well as not shiny, not reflective. Just a little at a time. I have this song play in my head when I feel like I'm taking too long at something. It goes, any day now. So let's see. We'll do a little of that on this part of the head as well. So when I'm quiet like this, would you guys like music? Because I can start getting some more music in my arsenal that I can play without worrying about copyright infringement. I use Epidemic Sound for the music on all our videos. Or do you prefer me talking and putting you to sleep with my voice? I have been listening to my video on getting from inspired to create to creating inspiration since I released it on my channel, and I can tell you I'm a lot more productive. I'm not just saying it. So we can also take and kind of drop in a little dab as you go down to kind of imply their feathers. So I'm just doing little teardrop like dabs like that, and they look like feathers. And it is lighter color and it's reflective, so it looks like feathers. Managed to not get any ink where I don't want it. Okay, so we got our darker color. Don't get it too wet. That is what I used there, right? So I'm going to put that on the tail because the tail is farther away. Coloring on fabric instead of in a coloring book. If coloring in a coloring book is soothing to you, then you will love this because you actually can use it for something afterward. Which one of you asked for a 12-inch quilt this week? I can't remember which one of you it was. I feel like I'm going to mix some other shades in here. To enhance the purple, even though it isn't a purple. Just as I did the pink to create that kind of lavender or mauve-y look. Just playing around as I kind of feel like doing more of that over here, but bye, Paulette. I missed her leaving. I'm behind. Grab a little of this. And this color is so pretty. It's turquoise in the Neopaque group of colors, number 585. Yeah, I think it needs more than just purple. Don't you guys agree? Does anybody agree with me? But I am going to mix it with the purple so that it'll be tonally in the same color. I think I'm going to grab a little more of the purple here. Not wearing the right clothes for this. This is the most reckless I've been. This is the violet in the Fabric Creations. I'm just going to put a drop in there. So it shouldn't make it purple, but it will bring it to a tone that blends nicely with all the purple tones. Where am I going to put it? I think I'm going to put it on its wings because it's art. Can always mix it with purple as well. The dogs have entered the room. It must be 4. Pretty good. You're a good alarm clock, Chase. What did you get on your nose? He's got water on his nose. It's weird. Oop, that's a little wet, but not as wet as would be required for it to go back to the back of the quilt. This kind of makes me want to get all my quilt squares out that I quilted at shows and color in all the quilting that I did as demonstrations. But I was also wondering if there were any of you that would want my old quilt squares. They're all like 18 inches, and I quilted all over them. If that would be something any of you would want. I know that at shows people were giving away their quilts to people like that, where they just long-armed all over them. Because I'm tempted to just, you know, I get tempted to throw them away, and I can't because it's fabric and batting. And then I'm like, oh, I could make it into something, but what? I don't know. I don't have time for that. If any of you should be interested in that, maybe you could, I don't know, make them into a bunch of pot holders or... So now I have that purple, and I'm just going to do little dabs again to kind of imply feathers. I've lost track of which color that is. This is a much more successful painting day than the last time when I did the shirt. Sorry, start on the bottom of that section and work your way up so that you don't cover up. And I guess I'm going to do that color up here as well, because I messed up. Okay, so when you're building feathers, you start at the bottom and you're just doing little pushes. Then you go to the next row. Try not to cover up all of the color beneath it. I'm probably going to stop because we're at 2 hours already, but I don't want to waste the ink. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. You guys vote. Do I keep going or do I stop? If I stop, we need to come up with the question of the day for the prize giveaway. Nobody's commenting. Do you guys want me to keep going or do you want me to stop? Now I mixed some of that green in with the purple, with the lemure in it, that pearlescent. I forgot to quilt over here, so he doesn't have all the feathers that I have on this side. Where is that pink again? We'll do a little more pink in there. I feel something vibrating, but it's not my phone. Strange. It's one of those weird days. Weird things keep happening. Never supposed to say stuff like that out loud. How did you know how to do the feathers? I've been painting for most of my life. I'm not sure what you mean because I quilted the feathers. How did I know which direction to do it? I used to breed cockatiels and trained big birds. I trained cockatoos. Hi, Tinkerbell. Do you want to say hi? Come here. Ugh. Tinkerbell wants to say hi. Why are you shaking? What's going on? She's like, it's after 4. What are you doing? You're supposed to stop. Wait, she's acting scared. She's shaking. You all right? Oh, it don't matter. Something frightened you. You want mommy to stop? Oh, you tell me you're wet too. Why are you wet? What are you guys doing? Makes me think the sprinklers came on. They shouldn't be coming on midday. I'll have to check that out. I'm going to take it. Well, it's not going to take me that much longer. I'll probably just keep going. I don't want to waste this ink. I don't possess that ability to waste stuff like this. If I have to, I will, but I like to keep on going. How to apply the paint to the feathers. I do fine art. I've painted eagles and everything. So I used to paint 40 to 100 paintings a day when I was around 18 years old at a studio. So I learned all kinds of tricks to painting quickly. So that is a little bit of experience. And the more you layer, the more things look realistic. But right now I'm looking at this as trying to make it appear as fabric, different kinds of fabrics that we applique together. Can add more pink into that so that this becomes lighter now. The head sticks out past the belly. I'll get some more water in here. All right. So rather than using white to lighten, we use other colors that are lighter in color. Use other lighter colors to bring something to a softer or lighter appearance. The top of the head, probably be a little bit lighter. I think I'm going to actually bring in a carnation from the Fabric Creations line. And drop it into a new trough. Yeah, it's coming out. Not that much. Put that back in the bottle. Clean off the outside so you can open that bottle again. Clean that brush off. Okay, I'm breaking some rules here to get this done quicker. Normally I don't leave a brush in the water. But if I can't clean it quick, it's coming off. And then I also put my brushes in a flat paper towel covered little, this is a cheapy little tray that I got somewhere. So now I'm going to take, and this is a significantly lighter shade, and bring some lavender over there. So now I have a really, really light shade for the top of the head. A little more water. So I really don't want it to be pink. Not for this anyway. Grab some more of that. Sloppy mixing. Yes, Tinkerbell knows how to get my... pull at the heartstrings and get me to stop. Especially that shaking thing that she does. They just know. 2 hours is when I usually stop now. So, little dab to kind of make it look a little feathery again. Very small amount on the tip of the brush. So this is a little bit darker than the top one. Spinning the brush so that it brings the brush to a fine point. Gives you more accuracy, always pulling down so that we don't ruin the tip of the brush. I need to do something for my dad for his 93rd birthday. And my sister's like, well, you know, he loves airplanes because he was a pilot. And partly why I'm an inventor is because my dad was building airplanes in our garage. The last plane was actually removed from his garage just probably 2017. So now I'm going to bring in some more purple. So I was thinking maybe make him something for when he's sitting down watching TV. Something to hold all his remote controls that has quilting. Maybe paint it. So I'm probably going to focus Thursday on doing a project for my dad's birthday, because the party is the following Saturday. And he really appreciates handmade presents. Getting there. So I'm going to go back with the greens again in here. So I'm just doing the little tap tap. So it has a little hint of green because I think it looks a little out of place. Trying to keep do the bottoms first and work your way up. I am attempting to cover up most of that green. The only reason there's green there is because I dropped some. I was going to keep the greens to the wings and the tail. Okay, so now lighten up the next. And now we have a lighter shade of green. It's not damp enough. So this is kind of like a dirty palette. And when I paint paintings, I will frequently use what's called a dirty palette, making sure I always mix all the colors. Each color gets mixed into the next color. And that makes the painting look cohesive throughout. You guys, I do plan on teaching some more art, and I'll be creating another section of Create with Clare Rowley in the school for you guys. And then I'll post my pictures of my paintings in there for you guys. And then you can ask me what you want to learn on that. That, and I will be launching Beyond the Brushstrokes, another YouTube channel for art, but I'm not going to be as instructional on it because there's a limit to what I can do. And I'm learning my limits. So I'll probably just film a painting and put music to it. Do you guys have input? What do you think? You can see my paintings right now if you want on my Etsy, which is Clare Rowley Art, I think. I also have my art on Facebook. You should probably be able to Google Clare Rowley and painting or fine art. This is kind of fun stuff. This is a little juvenile type of art for me, but it's fun. No pressure. And you can't see it, but my pinky is down in the eyeball of the owl, or out here. But I'm not like hovering over with my arm in the air because you don't have that stability that you need. So I plant my pinky, and then that gives me the ability to not get dirty on the rest of the ink. And then I'll probably go in with one of these shimmery colors and create the impression of feathers over those to tie it in better with the purple. Not going too far over my, it's only 4:29. Makes up for the first 15 minutes of technical difficulties today. Can take some of this and put it down here. I went outside the line. Bummer. But as I mentioned before, it's harder to draw with your sewing machine accurately around color than it is to draw color around or within your stitching. Mostly I'm having trouble because I don't have enough water in that. So it was too thick. Spin, try to get a point. Making sure it's not too damp because you don't want it dripping and you don't want it seeping through to the back fabric. This is so much fun, you guys. Be more fun if I weren't holding the palette. My arm's getting sore. I'm going to add a little bit of dark purple here. And do the tip. This is a real stretch for my pinky. And the reason I'm doing this far away is because I'm staying close to the microphone so you can hear me. There's nothing wrong with repositioning your fabric and repositioning your body so that you don't get sore. Adding more green to that dark. And hopefully it's darker than that. If it isn't, I can add a little more. More water. There we go. How does it work with drying time for the paints? Depending on how much water and how thick you put it on. This is all dry here in the middle. So once the ink or paint dries, you still want to heat set it with an iron, wait for it to dry before doing the heat setting. Or use a blow dryer to speed up the drying time, because you don't want the ink getting onto the iron. Using a pressing cloth over the art is a good idea before you iron, in case your iron spits and out comes some yucky stuff out of your iron. That's a bummer. One of the things I use as a pressing cloth is my Fuse and Fuse paper release liner. It makes a really good pressing sheet rather than cloth. If I get ink on it, then it ends up just being something I can toss in the trash, and I don't feel like I've wasted any money. So that product gives you 2 in 1. So what's going to really make this is me adding some more of the pearlescent colors. Oh, I want to rest my arm so bad. Let's see. Oh. Much better. Bring in another bit of that dark color because the tail is in the shadows of the owl, so it would be darker under here. Running out of things to talk about. You guys need to ask me some questions. Do you feel brave enough to do this? What stops you from creating things? Fear. Number one reason people don't try something is because they're afraid to fail. Do a little bit right there just to give it a little bit of a shadow, which I shouldn't be doing because now I'm getting into art. Okay, so just kind of mixing it up. Depending on the light and how the light would hit the owl would determine. This is the same thing that would be true of hummingbirds. You know, they have this reflect. This is great stuff to paint hummingbirds, by the way. Okay, let's see. Oh, no. Probably should have stopped. So now my brain's going, all right, what are you going to do? I can make it a feather falling. Do a little feather and his feather. Can also put some flowers there. What did I say to do? Use hold light. So it's dropping a couple feathers. There could also be a branch coming in with leaves on it, so I'm just not going to worry about it. No big deal. Just another day in the day of art. And I'm looking for my pattern to give me a little, pull me back into a calm state. So here we go. So we need to do yellow eyes and his black, and we need to put white in the pupil. This is the best of the whites for this purpose. This is the super opaque white 220 in the textile paints from the Jacquard line. I'm not going to finish with the error, the mistake, today. But I kind of like the dropping feathers. Kind of makes the owl a little moody, like he just fluffed himself up and got on the perch and dropped a couple feathers. I could make a couple more dropping down to make it appear planned. So you can see how that blocks the gray color of the fabric. Now, if I had a really light blue, I would have used light blue. However, you could have used black or a really, really dark purple blue to simulate stars, and you could have stars. And then if something fell like that, you wouldn't see it as much because it would be on dark fabric. And since owls are generally out at night, not that my owl hung out with me for 2 weeks, and he would look down at me. I videotaped him and took some pictures and came out and had a conversation with him several times a day, and he was awake. even though it was daytime. Thought I had pulled this already. Oh, they're two different colors. I don't want you to, I don't want to show you a color that we can't get anymore. So we have our brown for the perch. And the brown will tone down the yellow. Space a lot of time. So if I take the brown and put it in its own a little bit over here, and then I put some yellow in there. It's the real yellow that we have on the site. Of course, we have other yellows like this one. This would be fine all on its own without me doing this, but I like to show you how you can mix. So that takes that down from being super bright. And that becomes more like the pattern for the eyes. Make sure you got clean water to add to your yellow. Dirty water will definitely muddy up your color. And this is the yellow part. Now, if you want that yellow to really show up, you would put white behind it and paint yellow over it after the white dries. And it will block any color. That's why it's called super opaque, because it covers, the opaque line covers better. Sometimes we want our colors to show up really a lot, and sometimes we want them to blend more. What are you guys having for dinner? I need an idea. I expect you guys to help me figure out what to eat every Thursday. What you got cooking? Does your house smell like heaven right now? Or have you already eaten and washed the dishes and put it all away? Where are you on the planet? Is it time for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or bed? Isn't it nice that we could connect from so many places? You guys aren't talking. So I think I'm going to, instead of the purple, I'm going to put yellow in the middle of the beak. And this is tangerine. Put a little tangerine over here. Oh, this is one where I kept it closed. Just a tiny bit of tangerine. Adding some yellow to the tangerine. That bottom is not flat in that trough. And now we have that for the beak, for its outside of the beak. Go more yellow, but still have a little orange in there for the toes. Make sure you spin the brush so the tip is loaded. Can do a black pupil or dark purple. Do I have black in here? Should have black. Lentil soup. That's a good idea. I have some barley already made. I could add lentils to the barley and have lentil barley soup. I'm almost ready to end, you guys, because I'm getting fatigued. And you guys aren't making enough comments. If you want me to hang out with you, you have to hang out with me and say things, talk to me. Being very careful on this. Can't breathe when I'm being very careful, or can't talk. Can, but that's when I drop accidental feathers on my artwork. This would be better with my smaller round brush. Right now I have the number 4. A number 2 would definitely be ideal for going around this fine little section here. A little too dry. Tinkerbell's back for another round of helping me remember what time it is. It's only a matter of time before Chase also comes back in for some persuasion. Puppy persuasion. Trying to get Mom to stop. She's actually getting in her chair, so I guess she feels she's given up. Okay, so for the branch, there I messed up. I forgot also, by the way. I forgot about adding another color on top of these feathers to tie it in. So that's a little drop of brown did that. So now same color, the same side. A little too dry. See, when you don't stop, that's when you're more likely to make mistakes. My hips are kind of sore from twisting my body to make it so you can see and hear me. This pearlescent color over the top as well. So combining, once again, coming in from the bottom, we're dabbing my way up and not adding more ink. So there's less ink as I move up, so there's more color at the base of the feather and less at the top. And I'm dropping the brush more, creating longer feathers. And I kind of feel like it needs a little bit more feathery look up here. And I didn't even do any down here, but I will longer pushes on that to create bigger looking feathers on his tail. Little tiny dabs on that green. It's very similar brush technique for doing hummingbirds. We're about to end. If you want to be ready to type the answer to the question I'm about to ask, get ready to be at your computer or whatever device you're typing on, because I'm about to ask the question that gives you the ability to win the Stupendous Stitching book by Carol Waugh. It's also an opportunity for you to place more orders and get free shipping. Because when I ship something, I'm going to ship it anyway. So if there are other items that you're wanting and you are the winner, be sure to contact me right away from inside of the school at createwithclarerowley.com. Are you guys ready for the question? What should I have put on this fabric around the owl to stop me from dropping those accidental feathers on the side of the owl? What is the stabilizer called that I could iron on the fabric, leaving a little window of where I want to paint? What is it called? Type it in. Whoever writes the name of the stabilizer that we sell at creativefeet.com. I'll give you a little hint too. It has a hummingbird on its label. So what is the name of the stabilizer that we would iron onto the fabric? What is the name of it? It irons and it has a hummingbird on the label. Nobody's got it yet. We also use it on the back of embroidery, not on the top. Well, we do on the top sometimes. No wonder you guys get confused sometimes, because our stabilizers have so many uses. Yes, Brenda wins. It is Hold Light. Hold Light is the stabilizer that you would iron on to your fabric. You can cut a little window out for the owl, and then all of the area around it would be free from your accidental brush drops and from drips, unintentional drips. And so Brenda, you get the Stupendous Stitching book, which was written by Carol Waugh based on our Pearls and Piping Foot. The book is autographed by Carol Waugh, and I also am going to autograph it with your name so that you, because we did do that at shows. We would co-sign the book, me as the inventor of the foot, her as the author of the book. She's a doll, and if you can take a class from her, I hear she's still out there teaching at stores. You can search her website for carolanwaugh.com and see if there's any workshops in your area. And it's amazing what she does. I'll gently flip through this just a little bit. So she's in galleries. She's also, some of her work is featured in some hospitals in Colorado. And I don't know if she still has a gallery in Colorado. She may. But she actually also teaches a lot of this is fiber art. These are threads and stitches. And she finishes her quilts using our Pearls and Piping Foot. And does a binding technique using rat tail cording and our pearls and piping foot, which is all covered in here. Sorry about that. Okay. Congratulations, Brandy. I'll hold it up for you to see. It's not too bad. I only had one paintbrush drop. And this will be the center. Was it you, Brenda, that wanted the little 12-inch quilt? So I just need to piece the pieces to frame this, finish the perch. And what a cute little project. I'm glad that you asked for that. And look forward to playing with you next Thursday, where I'm going to come up with something for my father. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. So it'll be a project that Min can enjoy. If you have a guy to sew for, I'm thinking something for his remote controls, glasses, remote control. What else do you need to have handy? Pens to write with, notepad. This is all over his table because he's always writing notes. Something for your hanger. It was you. So with that, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I sure hope you'll do so today. If you do, be sure to hit the bell so you get notified whenever I go live or whenever I upload any videos to my channel. Be sure to also join Create with Clare Rowley, my free online school, where you can send me messages at all hours of the days and nights. And you cannot wake me up when you do that. But when I do check to see who sent me messages, sometimes it's immediate and you don't have to wait for an email or for business hours. I do not mind when you ask me questions in there. If you see my face, if you see the circle and it says Clare, click on it and you can say hello. And that is how you have a private conversation with me so that no one else knows what you're talking about. Or you can have a wonderful time hanging out with other people that are also members, as it is a friendly place full of people that are also in today's chat and every day growing. If you want the free pattern that for this design, it's free only to the VIP members, which is a group, a paid for group within the site that helps fund all these fun projects that I do for you on my YouTube channel, and cameras and microphones and other things. I appreciate you all so very much. Special thanks to all my VIPs and all of you that are brave and participating in the chat. Thanks again for dealing or being patient as we had technical difficulties upon the beginning of this video, which I probably have edited away if you're watching this after May 12th of 2022. And Brenda, go ahead and reach out to me in the school. I love you guys. Mwah. See you next Thursday. Bye.